Alright, so by far we have covered most of the really basic things of the tools for data analysis, where this course includes the two major libraries of Python called the NumPy library and the Pandas library. In this possibly last video of the course, we are going to cover the handling of missing values in the data frame in Pandas. And of course, we took a look at how Pandas handles missing values in the past videos, but the question is how you handle missing values in the data. After all, when you import some data, you have to clean it to be able to get meaningful results out of it. Missing values create a lot of problems when we are trying to clean the data. Because of that, there are many errors that you can encounter during the process because of the way missing values are stored in Pandas. And so let's take a look at how you can handle the absence of data in Pandas. First, let's get a sample dataset that contains some missing values so we can work on it. And as always, I'm going to import Pandas as usual by import Pandas as PD. And we will be using a dataset called UFO reported sightings. So UFO equals the pd.read CSV, and this is the URL for CSV file. And let's read in that data into a data frame, and I'm gonna do UFO.tail, which basically is the opposite of the .head function, meaning that it will show the last 5 values of the CSV file instead of the first 5 values like the head function. So let's go ahead and do that. We will see that this value is NaN, and of course this is the not a number, and is used to indicate the missing value in Pandas. Let's just take a look at the source file of CSV, and if you open it up and see the last few rows and compare it to the way they are shown in the data frame, you can see here that there are 2 commas together here, indicating that there is something missing, and Pandas has just gone ahead and filled that with the NaN special character. So why are some values missing from the data? Well, there is no particular way of knowing as to why, although this is the point at which we get into the part of data science that I like to call the data intuition, by which I mean really looking at your data and trying to figure out why it is the way it is and how it will affect your analysis. It can be frustrating part of data science, especially if you are newer to field and don't have a lot of experience. For dealing with missing values, you will need to use your intuition to figure out why the value is missing. One of the most important questions you can ask yourself to help figure this out is this: is this value missing because it wasn't recorded or because it doesn't exist? If a value is missing because it doesn't exist, then it doesn't make sense to try and guess what it might be. These values you probably don't want to keep is NaN. On the other hand, if a value is missing because it wasn't recorded, then you can try to guess what it might have been based on other values in the column and row. This is called imputation. So let's take a look at some of the methods that we can use in working with missing values. The first one is called isNull method. So what we can do is we can write UFO.isNull.tail. And the way this method works is that it shows false if something in the data frame is not null, and it checks all the values. If a value is null, then it returns true. So you can see that all the entries in the city column are false because there is no value in that column that is missing. But on the other hand, the first 3 values of colors reported columns are null, so it returns true for these values. You can also use the not null method to get the exact opposite of that. Alright, so how are these methods useful? Well, because we use these methods in conjunction to the .sum method, so UFO.isNull.sum, and it tells us the number of missing values in each of the columns. So how does that work? Let's break it down. So let's create a dummy Pandas series, and we will pass a list of booleans. So pd.series true false true.sum, and we see that what we did here is that we coded Pandas to do a mathematical operation on booleans where it will convert trues to 1 and falses to 0. So to show you the number of total trues, another useful thing that we can do with the .null function is we can apply a mask of it to filter particular columns depending on whether or not their values are null. So what we can do is UFO sub UFO.city.isNull and run it. So what should you do with the missing values? Honestly, it mostly just depends on what you're trying to do with the data. And I can just tell you the methods and tools that you can use to do useful things with missing data that can help you in cleaning the data more efficiently. So one common thing to do is drop missing values. Let's see what is the shape of data by UFO.shape. So there is a data frame method called drop na how equals any dot shape. So what this function does is that it basically does exactly how it sounds like. It drops the rows from the data frame, or deletes the row or removes it. And so the how equals any means that I want to drop a row if any of its values are missing. So if I do that, we can see how many rows we have lost, and that's all that's left if we drop all the rows where any of those values of that row is missing. And oh, by the way, this doesn't make changes in the original data frame like many other functions, and it only returns a copy of changed data frame, so we don't have to worry about accidentally deleting data. We can modify the drop na function as well. So let's say I do ufo.drop na how equals all dot shape, and here it says only drop a row if all of its values are null, and we can see there isn't much change in the number of rows because there aren't any rows where all the data is null. There is one more option for drop na method, which is to subset to ufo.drop na subset equals city shape reported how equals any dot shape. So this is basically saying that I want to drop a row where either the city or shape reported are missing for a given row. Okay, so now let's talk about the second method of handling with missing data, which is to fill the missing values with something. So let's take a look at value counts first. So UFO shape reporter dot value counts. What it does is it's saying how many times this value occurs in shape reported series. We got many fun values here, and if you just take a look at it, you will see that it doesn't make 18,000 values, and the reason for that is that the missing values are excluded by default when we are counting from this row. So if we say drop na equals false here, we can see that nan is also included with 2644 values marked as nan. So we can basically fill those values as follows. We can say UFO sub shape reported dot file na value equals various and in place equals true. And in place equals true means make the change in the place or in the actual data frame. If we run the previous code line, we can see that all the missing values are converted to values and the quantity is 2977. So that's it for this video, and we are almost at the end of this course now. So where you can go from here? Well, the amount of knowledge that data science covers in total is a lot, and this course doesn't even come close to teaching those amounts of knowledge. So what I would like you to do is if you want to continue and pursue the path of data science, explore more about the advanced things in Python data science and Pandas and NumPy, and maybe start from the notes of these videos because they contain a lot of new information that is not mentioned in this video, in the videos. So thanks for watching, and hope you were able to learn interesting things in this project. All the basic content of the course has been published, although there might be a few videos in the future regarding the project discussion and data visualization, and the visualization part hasn't been included in this course because it would probably take another course in detail for that. And so with that being said, thank you, and I'll see you next time.